Good morning, everybody. I think we all have been looking forward to today, 11 a.m. And yeah, we are here. We have Joy with us. And I know that Joy is someone who doesn't need any formal introduction. I think all of us in sports, we all know him. And we have seen him on so many occasions. And Joy, even then, I would like to introduce. I think your body of work has been so diverse, and it's so long, right? Your contribution to the Indian sports. So you have been a quizzer, an orator, writer, producer, and Joy has been the former team director of the IPL franchisee Kolkata Knight Riders. And you have also served as the director for the FIFA Under-17 World Cup, which was conducted in India. And right now, you are adding your value as the CEO of the Prime Volleyball League. So I think that's a lot, Joy. How would you summarize your career span throughout in Indian sports?
I was just lucky to be at the right place at the right time. When I started off sports television in '96, TWO had just come to India, so lots of opportunities. Similarly, '99 was when I moved to ESPN, and ESPN at that time had just started producing, Indian content.
Yeah.
Similarly, 2008, I was there at the start of the IPL. 2017, again, FIFA was launching. 2014. So I just, as I said, I was lucky enough that my time working, my career working, coincided with a lot of new things happening in Indian sport at the same time. So I was lucky to get in at the ground floor. 2018 Crick Buzz. So again, things that I was there at the right. I was lucky enough to be the right person at the right time. That's all. I mean, I wish I could tell you there's more to it. It isn't.
See, you're being kind and humble, but definitely there's an amount of hard work that has gone behind the value that you have created, right? So luck is definitely there, but the kind of effort that you have put in is commendable, especially for people like us. We have literally grown up watching you again and again. So thank you for what you have contributed to the sports
Absolutely my pleasure.
ecosystem.
Totally my pleasure.
We have a lot to talk, and we will be taking audience questions as well. But I think the best starting point of this discussion should be Prime Volleyball League, which is ongoing right now, and the finals are in. It's happening in Chennai, and the finals are on 21st of March. So for the audience, whoever is here, please go and watch. The first step is go and watch in Chennai in the stadium, and the second is that you can watch it on Sony, which is being broadcasted. So, Joy, it's this is the third edition of PVL, right? And I was just thinking that while growing up, जब हम school में थे, सबने volleyball खेला है कहीं ना कहीं, right? But even then, it took us so long to have a formal league. So, if you can share your journey of how this idea came, and how are you trying to make it a grand success?
So, look, I let me start from where. You're absolutely right. The biggest problem with volleyball in India is it's played everywhere. It's played by everyone, and like chess, you can play volleyball in 2 minutes. You can learn to play volleyball in 2 minutes. Ki net ke is taraf se us taraf dalna hai, or you to really learn to play volleyball well, it can take you 20 years. So the point of it is it's that kind of game. It's both simple and complex. It's very low resource. If you're in the villages, you'll see that they'll just tie two palm coconut trees. They'll try this thing a rope and put a net on it and play. So it's a perfect game for India, which doesn't have that much resources. You know what I mean? It can be played anywhere. The thing about it, volleyball, is that why it didn't big wasn't big in India is volleyball was never shown on Indian TV other than the Asian Games or the Olympics. And there was
Yeah.
no other place that we saw. So even if football is not happening, you're seeing Premier League football in India, you're seeing other stuff in India. You never saw volleyball in Indian screens. And they were, I mean, the Federation, for good or for bad, in the last 20 years have had so many issues with themselves and each others and fighting that they've never really had the chance to put together a league. And my thought was, here's a game that India can actually do well at very fast. I mean, volleyball, we are in the 60s and 70s, though we haven't played properly for 2 years. Just the Asian Games we went and we beat last year's silver medalist and bronze medalist. We came sixth. We are sixth in Asia. We can't say that in football. We are not close. We are not in the top
Yeah.
100 in football. So there's a
Yeah.
huge opportunity. And secondly, the Volleyball International Federation, they've seen our league. They're so excited because they feel India could play the Olympics in the next 8 to 10 years. Might be in the next 4 to 8 years. So that's the kind of excitement that volleyball brings. The biggest problem was there was no Indian league, there were no heroes, and that's what we've tried to plug, because there's a huge amount of opportunity, and that those talented players that we have, we're just trying to give them a place. We're trying to build heroes in Indian volleyball, and that's basically what we're trying to get.
Yeah, in fact, last year it was in Bangalore, a part of it, and I was there to witness a few matches, and I could see, it is fast paced, and being a spectator, it's very much interesting. So it just captured my attention as a viewer. So that is something which is
Yeah,
definitely a
it's a
major.
fantastically, it's an athletic game. It's a very athletic game. It can be played in an indoor stadium. It is very fast, and it's super 6'4", 6'5" guys you have jumping around, but you also have 5 feet 8 inch guys, like who are the liberos, who are diving and making incredible reflex saves. So there's everything there. There's all the drama is there. It's a fantastic sport to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And see, talking about leagues, Joy, because you have also worked in the most successful league, that is IPL, as the director of KKR, right? Cricket is a different game. Non-cricket sports is a different game, and we all are seeing like how Pro Kabaddi League has been a classic case study. Last year, they reached break even, and probably they will be the profitable league soon. And so considering that aspect of it, because there's a lot of the economics behind conducting a league and making it successful. So how has that been? Because Rupe has come on boarded, and kudos to Rupe for supporting the league in all possible ways, and then you have A23 as well. So how does the economics of making this kind of league work?
So basically, the advantage Pro Kabaddi have, and it's not to say that they didn't do a very good job of it, they did an excellent job. But Mashal Sports had star backed Mashal Sports to the hit. They really put marketing money behind it themselves. So it was not just about what was being produced on Mashal, it was Star regarded Kabaddi as their property and made it big. They took every possible opportunity to make it big. And they really succeeded. Kudos to them, because they did a really wonderful job of it. So our challenge is, when you're not owned by a channel, or not don't have that affiliation with the channel, you're with a channel. But the point is, the channel is not putting that kind of marketing resource behind your product at this point in time. So the economics of it means that we must find sponsors, and we must find owners who believe in the long-term vision of what it is, till it becomes a media property which is viable for people to really want to buy. And I think that's what our journey is. And what we've done very well is we put together a really good product, and we've got sponsors on board, and we really have owners who believe in the product. They believe that this is a product that works, and these are owners who themselves, as I said, come out from a variety of backgrounds, from people like Samir and Rahul from one of a venture capital background, to people from Flipkart, to people like the Muthuts. So they believe, they've seen the product, they believe the product, they believe this product has real value, and so do we. And not only that, we are not the only people who are saying that. FIVB is really excited about what we are doing with the league, and there are partners. We go out to the world with non-volleyball world. So there's a lot going on in Indian volleyball, where it's a huge opportunity. And the one plus that we have over Kabaddi, they're doing fantastic, they do really well, is that we are a global Olympic sport. So at the end of the day, the upside is much higher. There is a chance for our volleyball players to play the Olympics. I mean, the opportunities, I can't really see the opportunities of Kabaddi being a part of the Olympics, other than
Yeah.
as a demonstration sport, which it was actually many, many years back.
Yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. And this is the third edition. And see, I have been following the journey of PVL since the first, I would say, since it was in the conception phase, right? So I feel, as someone being in media, that it has gained quite a bit of good, popularity. So,
Thank you.
and I'm sure we all are working towards taking it a lot more to the higher level, right? And
Absolutely. Yeah. The
we,
journey
we
just
should
gets
we should talk about the Brahmaputra Volleyball League as well, because they have been able to make a good dent, and coming from that part of the country, northeast, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, Brahmaputra is run by this Abhijit Bhattacharya, who's both a friend and he works with the Mumbai team. But more than anything else, Abhijit was, just took an opportunity during COVID, saying that, how can I give back volleyball? And the beauty of the Brahmaputra model is something that actually I've seen no other league really do it Well, no other grassroots program. The essence of Brahmaputra Volleyball League is not that they find corporate money, because a lot of people find corporate money and can put in money and do things. The essence of Brahmaputra is the fact that they involve the entire village. So it's
Yeah.
not just a question of giving somebody 5 or 2,000 rupees to conduct an event in a village. It's about the women in the village cooking and helping with trying to feeding the team that has come. The men in the village mowing the place and making a place for them to play. Okay, all of them getting together to try and create an opportunity. So it's like it's every team hosts every other team, and so what happens is when you it's like the IKEA effect. When every member of the village is involved in something, then that becomes a movement, and that is something which is absolutely special. So we knew about Abhijit. So when we had the first opportunity, when FIVB was in India, we got him to meet. We sort of not we got him to meet, but we just made sure that FIVB could have an interaction with him, and they were blown away by what he's doing. So FIVB, in fact, they sent Jiba, who's probably the greatest volleyball player of modern volleyball player, to all the way to the Brahmaputra Volleyball League to work with them. So it's an amazing, amazing story, and I think uh, it's not just unique as a volleyball league, it is unique as a sporting model
Yeah.
where entire villages are adopting a sport. And I think that is the power of it. It's not about the money, it's about the kind of absolute groundswell movement that he's creating. It's absolutely fantastic.
And it is amazing and beautiful to see. And if that model can be replicated to a lot more places in the
Exactly, and
country.
it can be replicated in other
Yeah.
sports as well. It's not just he's taken volleyball, but what he's done is it's so beautifully done, because it's not about contributing money. You don't need to contribute. If you don't have money, contribute a roof over somebody's head so that they can sleep that night.
Hmm.
Contribute a meal. Contribute,
Yeah.
bamboos. There are young kids who said that okay, we can't do anything else. We've got mobile phones. We'll help cover it, and they've got this technology where they can cover actually get clippings from mobile phones, which is how they're telecasting the league. So there, I mean, there's so many ways they found ways to involve people, and I think that's the crux of a grassroots movement, making
Yeah.
people, just getting people involved. I think that's the first challenge, and if you do that well, everything follows.
Yeah, absolutely. And to grow sports to a larger level, I feel collaboration is the only way forward. I mean, we cannot just function in silos, right?
Absolutely, and you can't just throw money at a problem if people are not. You can put all the money from outside, but if people are just looking at it as a money making opportunity, it's not going to take off, or it's not sustainable. Rather, it might take off, but it's not sustainable.
Yeah, only money cannot solve the problem. I absolutely agree. Yeah, yeah. We need people coming forward together. Anyways, yeah, it was great to talk to you about the Prime Volleyball League, and we are looking forward to the growth because clearly there is potential, and I'm sure this edition
Yeah.
is it will end in almost a week's time. But moving on from volleyball discussion, I think we all should talk about the FIFA Under 17 World Cup that happened in India in 2017, right? And you were the project director, and that was a big event, right? Like, so how it's very rare because for us to get a chance to host a global event like this. So, and I'm sure for you to maintain the standard of the event was something that was very important to you. So how did that happen? If you can help our audience to just
Yeah,
get to know about
sorry,
that.
there's something in my eye. Just give me a second. Yeah.
It's
So
okay.
basically, what happened was that when we started FIFA, there's this colleague of mine who was the tournament director, who's this absolutely mad, wonderful Chilean gentleman called Javier Chepi. So he and I were basically running this tournament, and what we figured out very early was there were a lot of challenges involved, and I think the biggest challenge was that uh, this is there are so many stakeholders. You see, what happens with FIFA is a law unto itself. Then you have FIFA sponsors who are very powerful and big sponsors who are giving global money, like Coca-Cola, like Adidas, like Kia, Hyundai. So you need to listen to them. Then the government of India is giving you permission to do it, and they're helping in it. So the government of India is also a party. AIFF, the All India Football Federation, is also a party because they're doing it to popularize football. And then you have separate states. Each state is a separate. So, For example, if you're playing in Bengal, the West Bengal government has to be involved,
Yeah.
right? And so you have a Trinamool government somewhere. We had a BJP government in Assam, which was originally a Congress government. We had a CPM government in. So different governments, different nationalities, different kind of people. I'm not nationalities, different political parties, different ways of thinking. Most importantly, 12, 13 different stakeholders. So getting those stakeholders together and working was the biggest challenge. The great thing that FIFA does is what FIFA does very well, because they've done tournaments for so many years, is that and they're Swiss, so they are very organized. So
Hmm.
everything is written to the letter. So, for example, I'll give you a good example: ball boys and ball girls, the kids who throw the balls in, they're standing in the sidelines. There is a 60-page manual only on ball boys and ball girls. Where should they stand? What should they be wearing? What should their dressing room be like? What time should they report? What time should they leave? What time? Everything. So the thing about it is getting that we are India. We are our mentality is of big events. We do them very well, mind you. Is a wedding mentality. We will
Hmm.
do at the last minute everything कर लेंगे हम लोग. What that doesn't work with FIFA. So you have inspection after inspection. Your first inspection started. The first time we went for an inspection, which was just to look at grounds, was on the we joined in November 1st. By November 14th, we went for your first inspection. And by the time we finished in June of 2017, 3 months before the tournament, we did our sixth or seventh inspection. So that's a kind of detailing which is no organization does it. I've not seen anybody else. And FIFA is even more difficult than the Olympics because the Olympics is mostly in one place.
Hmm.
In case of FIFA, what happens is that you have five, six different cities which you have to inspect. So that was a big thing about trying to tell Indians that you need to get ready 3 years in advance. That doesn't work. The second thing that FIFA, I think, does well, which is again very much to learn on, is that they want to leave legacy. So how is this ground going to be maintained after the tournament is over? Because we in India have a problem of making white elephants, making huge things which are used once a year. We have this huge stadium in the middle of nowhere where once a year a game will be held, a test match or an ODI, and the rest of the year nothing happens. And that's such a waste because that doesn't need that was just ego talking. You didn't
Yeah.
need that stadium there. So there are plenty of such stadium white elephants in India. FIFA says refurbish normal stadiums, get them together, get them FIFA, and they always say you have to make training grounds just as good as the stadiums. Now, when you make a training ground, we used to put floodlights also. We had to put one dressing room, but we'd always put two dressing rooms. Because what would happen is we know that once this tournament is over, this now fantastic turf is now a hub for tournaments, local tournaments. So in every of the six cities we did, we created hubs like that. So 25, 24 pitches for the teams and two pitches for referees. 26 different football pitches were created, which went out there. Then we did something called Mission 11 Million, which was over and above everything, which is the whole idea was how do we get government to get involved? How do we get people to get involved? Now, we can't start a coaching program. We are just a LOC. We're going to finish off in 2 years' time. But what can we do? We can encourage a movement about trying to understand what football is. So, two myths we found in football, which we tried to break very hard. The first myth was that you need a full size field to play football. If you go to the UK or any football country, kids below the age of 14 will never play on a full size pitch. They'll all be playing 5-on-5 small pitches, and that's the idea of football. Break it up 5-on-5, lots of kids rotating, so everyone gets a chance to play. Playing one huge pitch with 10-year-old kids who can barely kick a ball. It's a complete waste of time. So we went to schools and we said, your courtyard is good enough to play football. You can play football there. The second thing we said is, you can really, this is how you play this game. Simply start playing this game with kids and encourage boys, girls just to play. It doesn't matter. Kick a football. And that's all we did. We just distributed, I think, more than 1.5 to 2 lakh footballs. We did workshops. And what we did interestingly in the workshops was we actually knew that the sports teacher in many schools is not a very powerful person in the sense that they
Hmm.
are looked on as, a sports teacher. Hai. Mane, the important
Yeah.
teachers in
Yeah.
school really are
PT
the
teachers.
principal. PT teacher is सबका माने does all other work also, administrative work, principal का wife को scooter में लेकर shopping ले जाता है. He's a he's literally like that in smaller schools. The top teacher is the principal, then it's always the maths teacher, the English teacher, the science teachers. I mean, that's how it works. So the truth of it is we used to get the principal involved, because we said that unless the principal is involved, change won't happen. And look, we distributed footballs, we created a lot of interest and awareness. Has it made a difference? I don't know, but we tried. We certainly tried. Whatever we could within our time, we tried.
Yeah, and there's so much to learn from this, right? Like there's so much to for us to learn from this entire process of how the standards that they are maintaining, and that can be again replicated to our Indian way of functioning.
Absolutely, absolutely. And look, we do many things well. We are very, very innovative. We can change. We can, pivot very fast. When we did something that FIFA found very difficult to believe in the semi-final which was to be played. There was a semi-final which was to be played in Guwahati, and there was pouring rain for 2 days. And the semi-finals, we literally changed the semi-finals venue on 36 hours notice and moved it to Calcutta. And remember, FIFA does not sell tickets online. You have to sell tickets online. Okay. In 36 hours, we managed to move that event from this place, from Guwahati to Calcutta, and got a full stadium within that. That FIFA told us, don't sell tickets because it won't be, you can't manage it. Sell to just make an play to an empty stadium. We said no. I mean, an opportunity to have a semi-final, we are not going to waste it by. So they couldn't
Yeah.
believe it when we built it. 65,000 people in the stadium. That's
And
just
you
unbelievable.
brought it from Guwahati to Kolkata, which is like बहुत दूर है.
Yes,
It's not
yes,
nearby.
36 hours. 36 hours exactly. It was crazy.
Yeah, yeah. No, insane. I think that's what we all learn being in sports, right? Anything can go wrong anytime,
Yeah,
and
yeah, absolutely.
we just have to figure out ways for it to work. So that's totally fine. No, I think for people and the audience who are watching this, I could literally break down your, FIFA journey and whatever you spoke into multiple parts, and especially for people who are in sports and events, like who are into that organizing bit, there is so much to learn, and there is this can be a detailed case study of yours, Joy. Maybe sometime we can interact later on, particularly on this subject, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Moving on to your association with Kolkata Knight Riders as a team director, right? And you saw two wins. And given your love for cricket, you obviously I mean, your Twitter feed and mostly like you, although you are, cricket has been an important part of your journey, right? And right now, WPL is happening, Women's Premier League. So, how do you see that? Because it has, as a country, it has taken us a lot of time, right, to come up with a Women's Premier League.
Yeah, in fact, that's the thing. It took 15 years for them to start a women's Premier League, but once they've started it, I think the big problem for them was that what they were worried about, and it's always chicken and egg, is saying, do you have a base of good enough players? So if you have, say, 40 good players, you can have five teams, because with the internationals and Indians, you're fine. So that is basically the limitations of the pool. But the point of it is, if you don't have a women's Premier League, more women's cricketers will not come up, because the stars, nobody watches women's cricket, domestic cricket, other than the WPL. So it is chicken and egg. At some point in time, they had to take the chance, and I think they've done it. And look, the standards have improved year on year. Yeah, the standards have
Yeah.
improved year on year. The hitting has improved year on year. The bowling, I mean, it is a really fun league to watch, and
Yes.
really good for them. I think they're doing a great job of it, and I'm glad they started small, five teams, but they can expand it. Hopefully, soon they'll become home and away matches. They'll get. I think it's all there, and the kind of money that they've got both for the teams and the media rights, uh, there is no need for them to hold back. They have the opportunity and the money to do it really well, and I think they
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And it's a good beginning, to be very honest. You know, people keep on complaining, but it's better that at
They
least it
know
has
you have to
started.
start. You have to start, and the moment they have heroines, uh, they have people to look forward to. More heroes, they are going to get more girls coming to the sport. I mean, that's just how it works. Who I
Yeah.
mean, you need heroes and heroines out there. That's how sport
Yeah.
works. That's why you need to have it on TV.
Absolutely. And we all need more and more role models across, all
Absolutely.
gender, all states and everywhere. Yeah, like influx of more domestic players is needed, and I'm sure it will happen with time because it takes, you know. So Joy, we have won Women's Under 19 World Cup last year, right? And we have also won in the Asian Games and like two historic test matches at our home against England and Australia. And, if you see, like when you watch it on TV, a lot of people say, women ka cricket is not as exciting as men's cricket, right? First of all, I don't know why that comparison, but, even then, like, do you think that the boom and recognition can happen on a greater scale only after a big World Cup win?
I think, look, they're do to the. I think the WPL is doing a good job of promoting it because, colored clothing and the way people play it is something, because you cannot have a World Cup every year. So I think that's the thing, that WPL will continue to promote it well. Yes, winning a World Cup, but see, the thing against it is people like the Australians and the English are so strong that if we wait for that to happen to turn around, in fact, I think it's a better chance that we get better cricketers in from the WPL, and then we have a genuine chance of getting it. And I think, again, women's Test cricket is that's the problem, that it they will find it difficult to sustain over time, which is why there are a lot more ODI matches. And it just is women's Test cricket any less interesting than men's cricket? Not at all. And I
Hmm.
mean that's the point, that so somebody is prioritizing and saying that okay, you're going to play only so many Test matches. There's nothing you can do about it. And I mean, it's pathetic. The number of, for the career, say, Mitali Raj had 20, 21 years, the number of tests she played as compared to any male cricketer who played in that same period, there's no comparison here. It's
Yeah.
just so badly skewed that it's not funny.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. No, and the problem is that a lot of times audience will say, ek to comparison, and then secondly, like men's cricket is a full-fledged, robust system which it's a well-run machinery, right? Since so many years, and then putting that same expectation on the women's cricketers, it's just not at all right.
No, absolutely, absolutely. I think that's the thing, that it's. I think it's an exciting time in women's cricket, in women's sport in India. I think it's an exciting time because I think in the last 7 to 10 years, people like starting with Saina. Actually, if you go further back, starting with Sania, Saina,
Yeah, yeah,
Sindhu, in individual sport, they've really given us. Then the Fogarts, the sisters. So there's so many. There have been lots of role models who have emerged in women's sport over the last 7 to 10 years, and that's 10 to 15 years actually, and that's really good. And we've just
yeah.
got to take that journey forward. I think the acceptance is much more, the understanding is much more. We've just got to keep going.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, Joy, when is female and women PVL coming up? When is that happening? Is
So,
that there in the plan?
so year one, we did a exhibition match. The basic problem is that because perhaps the federation is not together, there's almost no women's volleyball happening in India on a daily basis. So the problem is the talent pool is the basic issue. I mean, between you and me, if you look at volleyball, volleyball is an interesting sport because it's one of the rare sports where in many countries the women's version is much more popular than the men's version. So, for example, in the United States of America, women's college volleyball is much bigger than men's college volleyball. In Japan, women's volleyball is huge, bigger than men's volleyball. In Thailand, it's huge. So we recognize there is an opportunity out here. It's just that that first look that we give, when we give people that first look of seeing that product, they must see it good enough for them to say that, wow, I want this. And the big danger is, of course, it's a cat and mouse thing. It's about you take that jump, you don't take that jump, or you say that okay, I have to take that jump at some point in time. So those are the kind of questions I think we will have to at some point in time. I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
just we cannot, because we cannot wait that one day the federation will route itself and women's players will suddenly start emerging in droves. We'll just have to take a chance at some point.
I'm sure it will happen. It's just the matter of when,
Yeah, yeah. The
right?
IPL took 15 years. I hope we'll do it much faster than that.
No, absolutely. No, no. 15 years is too long a wait, Joy. So we should
Absolutely.
see that happening a lot more sooner. Yeah. So talking about, the league and the sport and like, what do you think? Like, which sport should be? This is actually this question is from one of our audience since we are talking about this league. So which sport do you see next should come and adopt the league model?
See, that's the thing. My belief, here's my belief. My belief is that leagues work best with team sports, not individual sports. And I'll
Hmm.
tell you why. Because what happens is when you have an individual sport, the person is bigger than the sport, bigger than the team. So if PV Sindhu was playing, badminton league, people will say, "Watch Sindhu playing Saina," but they will not remember whether they were playing for the Chennai Smashers or for whom.
Yeah.
That's the Hyderabad Hunters, because the individual is so big that the league
Yeah.
become the team name doesn't. So what happens is when the person leaves, the loyalty doesn't stay. So it's very difficult to do good individual leagues.
That's what happened with PBL, right? The badminton league. It started, but I think the same problem
That's the
happened.
thing, that people loved watching the games, but they couldn't recall the teams. And therefore, when you're telling owners to invest in a team, how do they get value out of it? You're not going to get value if people only remember the star and don't remember your team. So I feel individual sport is difficult to do for teams. I think, for example, basketball is one place where there's a huge opportunity to do a league, because again, it's a see you two things you need. You need a TV friendly sport, because today, by a TV I mean screen friendly sport, whether you watch it on your laptop or your mobile phone or your television set. uh, TV friendly, screen friendly sports are very necessary, because you will just not get enough people sitting in a stadium to really make the game big. It must look good. So I feel something like a basketball, a big ball, the action is easy to understand. I think there's an opportunity there. Plus, because there's huge, again, you think the NBA doesn't want to have, you know, Indian basketball stars? Of course they do. So I think
They do.
huge opportunity in a game like that. Uh, Again, men's and women's basketball, I think there's an opportunity there. Uh, Rugby is trying, and I'll be interested in seeing how rugby goes, because it's an interesting sport. Uh, and very, it's a field sport, but it has a lot of drama in there. If it's done well, it has a lot of drama, and there's an opportunity there. So let's see how all these go, and it'll be interesting.
Yeah. And talking about rugby, it has been interesting to see, since Rahul Bose came on board, and a lot of things are happening at the grassroots as well. So let's see how that develops, and it will be good overall for, the Indian sports ecosystem. Yeah. And we cannot afford to not talk about Olympics because this is an Olympics year, Joy. So, would you like to do some predictions on our Olympics medal?
No, I'm not good at that. I'll tell you what. I think really, as I said, uh, I mean, I think we'll do it just as well. I think we got six last time. Was it
Seven, yeah.
six?
Yeah.
Seven. Yeah. So I think we'll do at least that. I think we'll do at least that. I think I don't want to talk too much about it, because I think we have really strong long-term ambitions of hosting the games
Yeah.
ourselves, and I think I mean we have some very strong contenders. I mean, I leave aside the Neeraj, the obvious is like Neeraj and all.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
hoping badminton gives us something. Let's see.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And we should take a moment to, celebrate the rise of our table tennis players. They have been phenomenal in the last couple of weeks. It will be good
They've
to
been
see
absolutely,
them.
again, look what I'm saying, the league has helped them also. I think the league being here has helped them. I think
Yeah.
Goa hosting some world table tennis events has also helped. I think you're getting to see, once money, uh, professional training, money, all this enters the sport, a difference is made. Because you've got to understand, where do most sports people other than cricketers, and even cricketers used to at one time, all they has to think about is like, they played for the love of it, then they got good enough, then somebody told them, okay, if you play well enough, you will get a government job. And then after they got that government job, some of them remained interested, some of them didn't remain interested, some of them just played for the sake of it. That professionalism was missing in Indian sport, and I think that era, just like 2008 started league sport in India with the IPL. Professionalism in Indian sport, really, I think the man who started it was Abhinav Bindra. And I think
Yeah.
he brought a certain professionalism to it. And I think now you see far more of that. The way somebody like a Sharad Kamal maintains his body at this age is unbelievable. I mean, the kind of things
Yeah.
that somebody, in tennis, Bopana,
Yeah.
50,
Insane. Yeah.
insane what they're doing. So
Yeah.
they're professional, they're really committed, they know their bodies, they know international best practices. There's so much happening, and that's the truly what has been the breakthrough. That you've got a breakthrough in the IPL, which gave you certain amount of understanding of how to really monetize the sport. But also you got a breakthrough with Abhinav Bindra, which taught people that you can strive for excellence while coming out of India.
Absolutely. And it's always a pleasure to hear Abhinav talking and his thoughts on the administrative side of sports, right? Anyway, since we're talking about Olympics and there is inclusion of cricket in 2028, and I'm sure this is of your interest to a greater extent. So, how do you think that will change the way cricket is seen or the way how Olympics is seen? So, if you can share about that.
So I have a very simple theory. Between you and me, I feel the Olympics need cricket more than cricket needs the Olympics. Because cricket strong markets are already very strong. And what is happening is T20 cricket is really the first time cricket had a competitive product in the world to baseball and other stuff. Because every other format, whole day format, people can't play. Okay. Secondly, technology now today you have a format which is 3.5 hours. Secondly, so it's one evening. It's like going to a movie in the evening. So cricket finally had that product in T20. Secondly, what's happened is that the technology in making pitches has become much better. So today you can literally make and drop a pitch in anywhere and you can play it. And that was should be a problem that if you couldn't prepare a pitch for 6 months and you don't have a good curator, you can't play out there. So cricket now is T20 cricket is a very fast growing global sport because India's diaspora, Pakistan's diaspora, Sri Lankan diaspora, Bangladeshi diaspora, they're spreading the game everywhere and people are locally getting interested because it does have more variations in baseball. There are far more variations in cricket than in baseball. So you've already got that. Now the Olympics cannot ignore the fact that a large part of the globe happens to think this is the best sport, the most popular sport. So they can't keep ignoring it. So they have reached a stage where they said we better get involved in it. Now, will
Yeah.
it make a huge difference to cricket? I don't know because your Olympics has 6 teams to play. Okay, 6 teams are going to play over some 12 or 16 days. So 6 team tournament is even much smaller than a World Cup tournament. Okay,
Mm.
and you'll be playing in American times, which means that you'll be playing at 4 o'clock in the morning. If they play in the evening, you'll be playing at 4 o'clock in the morning. So my point is, I don't think it'll change the interest in cricket any more in India than India's already cricket crazy is not going to become any more crazy. India will only think, okay, there's a good chance of winning an Olympic medal as well. But for the world, for the Olympic movement to have cricket under its wing is a huge thing. I think it makes a
Yeah.
huge difference.
Yeah. No, absolutely, and also somewhere I feel that because we are a cricket crazy nation, right? And then we, as a nation, we are also dreaming of to bid for hosting the Olympics in 2026.
So
So
yeah, that extra chance of a medal always helps. That okay, here's something we should be among the top six because we should be ranked among the top six, and hopefully we have a decent chance of a medal. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And Joy, I think although yeah, we are speaking for more than half an hour, and I wish that we had a lot more time to continue this conversation. But I'm sure I can see a lot of comments and people are asking questions as well. Probably we'll take one or two. But before that, I would. We are slightly going to touch a different point here. That see, you have worked off the screen in ESPN Sports as the head of production, and then on screen as a cricket analyst in CrickBuzz, right? Both are very different. So, which one do you like more out of the two profiles? Producing or analyzing?
I naturally enjoy working behind the scenes more. I mean, it's more my thing because there's a lot more you can do, and I was privileged to see some truly great anchors start off. I mean, Harsha, there's my former boss at ESPN, Ray Hume. He played a huge part in building the kind of shows that could, give Harsha the things that he wanted, and Harsha did wonderfully well. Uh, and but also from there on to see people who we came from dream job, people like Manish Batavia, Sunil Taneja, for them to go forward and do what they do, it's absolutely amazing. So yeah, there's a lot of pleasure working behind the scenes. It's fun to work in front, of course. Of course, it's fun. Who says? I mean, to get to chat cricket with Gaurav Kapoor and Harsha Bogle is an absolute signal pleasure. But yeah,
Yeah,
behind the
yeah,
scenes is also real fun.
yeah. And see this. I'm trying to dig more into this because a lot of our audience is young audience who have just started their careers in sports, right? And you said when we started this conversation that it was your luck, you were there at the right time, and right now there are so many opportunities, and it's good that people are considering careers in sports, right? When you started your career, it was very less comparatively, right? And now this entire part of analyzing a sport. So how does analyzing a sport you know keep you involved, better involved with the game, right? And I know you're a quizzer as well, and you love to play with facts. So even after all these years of experience, how does the insights from any sport that intrigues you, if you can relate it and apply it to, let's say, volleyball league, so how does it help?
So it's fascinating. I mean, because what happens is, again, you see volleyball and you see that it's a very, seems to be a very simple sport. Three touches and it ball goes to the other side, and then you see so many, volleyball is a game which is totally, it's like it's like geometry. It's all angles. Okay, so somebody will serve at one particular angle. Okay, he'll get the ball here. Now he's squeezed. Now the person receiving the ball needs to give the ball to a setter, but the setter, the way he's standing, will determine which side the ball will go. And just seeing the way the setter's back moves, the blockers on the other side who are trying to block are basically trying to judge his movement by the way his back moves. And it is fascinating. So everyone is looking at what angle can this person put up the ball. The other person is moving alongside and trying to anticipate that. He is now trying to trick him and go behind his back. So there's so many small things. So literally, you take one simple movement, one serve, got here, received, set, smash, block. Okay, just four, five things. And I could talk to you about for 15 minutes about how it breaks down. And that is exactly the same. Cricket is exactly the same. You can literally break it down. You used to say that, and watching, especially as part of the dressing room, the Kolkata Knight Riders, you literally see that, okay, here's this new batsman who's come. This new batsman, what does he do? He doesn't like staying on zero. He wants to always get off the mark. So what do we do? How does he get off the mark? Normally he just dabs the ball down and runs. Okay. So the first thing you do is you get your best fielder to come to point. Okay. And he comes slightly closer than he stands. So this guy's go-to shot is gone. He can't just dab it and run. So you bowl two good balls. Now he doesn't have his go-to shot. He's going to go to take a risk. So then what you do? You clear the place and say, okay, you got to hit. Here are the fielders. You can hit this side. I'll give you a slow ball here. You moved up your third man and your square leg and your, sorry, backward this thing, uh, backward long leg. So you're telling the guy, come and hit here, try and beat my fielders if you can. And then sometimes he beats it some. So all this is happening, but what somebody who doesn't know the game is watching, he's just watching one batsman coming in. He tries to hit two balls, doesn't get it. Third ball he tries to hit a six. It either connects and goes for six or he gets caught. But they don't understand how much more has gone in behind this. And that, for any game, when you start, it's like, you start peeling the layers and understanding, okay, this is why this guy is doing this is why the slower ball is being bowled here, this is what the bowler is trying to do, this is how the batsman is trying to counter, or this is how the server is trying to serve here, and this is how the blocker is trying to counter from the other side. So those are the things that really are interesting in any game.
Yeah, absolutely. And the step one for anybody is to watch and think and analyze the game. Right. It
Absolutely.
itself will open a lot of other opportunities for the person.
Absolutely. And it's a
Yeah.
very fun process. I mean, you really
Yeah.
get a
Yeah.
lot of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Right. So, Joy, we should be ending this conversation. But before that, two things. One is, what word of advice would you have for the youngsters who are trying to contribute to the sports ecosystem at this age right now?
See, there are two things. The big problem I have, and I think it's not a problem. Is that somebody will come in and say that, I want to write my analysis of English Premier League football. It's not a bad thing. It's a really good thing, but that's not something that you'll get a job doing immediately, because everyone, your friend is also watching, his friend is also watching. There are 20 experts in the world where people follow your expert opinion on that. So my point is that, on the other hand, if you say that I am going to take this Indian sport and I'm going to write about it, keep talking about it, be a specialist on it, there's a value there. That means there is a value for you to be, say, the biggest writer slash analyst slash uh, you know uh, Twitter slash Instagrammer on just FC Goa than it is on Manchester United. Because what you will get is that it may be a smaller pond, but in that pond you are giving something of value which is not available there otherwise. Whereas if you are writing on, say, for example, on Manchester City, there are 200 people in the UK with better access than you also writing on Manchester City.
Yeah.
So that is one. The second thing I say of anyone who wants to work in sport and wants to get in, this thing is try and get in when you're a student. Just try and get in and experience it. You might be just, standing in security in a stadium, but you will get a very good idea of how sporting events work. And the last thing I say is consistency. Just say if you're writing on a sport and you're tweeting on a sport, just keep doing it. You're not going to get a breakthrough overnight. If you think that you're going to throw two stones out there and they're going to hit, they're not going to hit.
Yeah.
You have to just keep going there, keep writing, keep doing things until one day they'll take notice, and they will take notice.
Yeah.
But if you don't have consistency, don't expect results.
Yeah, absolutely. And these days, I meet a lot of people with so much of energy and enthusiasm, but they don't have the patience to put in that amount of hard work for a longer time. Yeah, that also happens. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Thank you, Joy. And the last point is that these days a very good thing is happening, that a lot of good people are writing books on sports, right? And which I feel is very good. And every time you go to the airport or anywhere, crossword, you see sports books on the shelves, right? So if you have to recommend your top three books on sports which our audience should read, wo kya hoga? Please tell.
So, okay, I'll go with three books which I really. One is definitely Abhinav Bindra's autobiography written with Rohit Brijnath, Shot at History. I think it's a fantastic book. It's open and it's straightforward. It tells you everything you want to know. He doesn't hide anything. And Abhinav is a straight shooter. Of course, he's a straight shooter. He's won an Olympic shooting straight. Uh, I really enjoyed Susan Ninen, Vishwanath Anand together. I think the autobiography they wrote together, I thought that was really, really, really good. And I think that's something that you can definitely take a look at. And yeah, I mean, the book that started it all, and I think everyone who wants to get into sport should read that book, for even if they're not interested in tennis, is this book called Open by Andre Agassi, because that was the first book that was not what we call a hagiography, where, oh, what a wonderful player I was and I was fantastic. He told the truth about how he hated the sport because he was forced to play it for so long, and then he learned to love it. And it's Open is important because it set the tone as far as sports autobiographies go. But that was the first time that we had a top level star being totally honest about how complex the journey of sport is. It's not just about, oh, you succeed, work hard, you'll be fine, every day you'll be in a good mood. No, you won't. There'll be days you're devastated, there'll be days you hate yourself, there'll be days you love yourself. He told the journey as it was, and I think it's a journey worth reading.
Glad. I have read two, but the one is remaining. The second one, I should read that. Yeah. But thank you, Joy. Thank you. And I'm sure I can see so many comments, but we're running short of time. And I'm sure you're busy as well. So I won't keep you, occupied here for a longer time, but we can have conversations later on as well. Thank you, Joy, for joining us and opening your heart out and sharing everything as it is, unfiltered. And thank you for your time, and thank you for
Absolutely
being
my
with
pleasure.
us.
Thank you, Arshi, for having me here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.